Arguably one of the best origin stories in the MCU, today we're revisiting Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings on The Gist. Ayo, what's good? Welcome to The Gist with me, Jared. Released back in 2021, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings was and still is a beautiful depiction of martial arts, family, and Asian culture. I found that this movie had a really great balance of drama, action, heart, and comedy. The fighting choreography showcased the beauty and the brutality that martial arts has. It gave nods to martial art movies of old, while still standing on its own merit of having exceptional action. Whether it was the bus fight, the garden duel, or the father vs. son match, every fight scene brought a big smile to my face. They definitely reminded me of Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee movies back in the day. The character development and layers to our protagonists and antagonists were incredibly compelling. When I first saw this movie, I was delighted to finally have a character that I deeply identified with and resonated with on the big screen. Shang-Chi's story of finding his own identity whilst also carrying aspects of his father and mother struck a deep personal chord with me. As we get older, we realize that our parents are people too. Flawed people at that. Despite their best intentions, we have to live with the scars and trauma of our childhood and move forward. We often carry the expectations of our parents with us, and it can be difficult to determine who we are versus who our parents want us to be.
All your aunties are nurses? Your cousins are nurses?
I loved how the movie illustrates Shang-Chi's battle with accepting both the good and the bad from his parents. The flashback scenes were effectively placed and definitely illustrated that dynamic in our main character. I really appreciated how skillfully the movie executed a reality I often face in my life. I also enjoyed the subtle nods given to Asian culture that were in the movie. From taking your shoes off before entering the house, having your grandparents live with you, singing A Whole New World or I Don't Want to Miss a Thing on karaoke. It warmed my heart to see the things that I do or have done on the big screen. Now looking to our antagonists, Wenwu might be one of the most compelling villains in the MCU. It was easy to sympathize and empathize with a character who would do anything to have the love of his life back. He's an all-powerful conqueror who is willing to give up his power to be with the one he loved. He had created a beautiful and fulfilling life that didn't require the power of the Ten Rings. And in a way, he blames himself for the death of his wife. If he hadn't put away the Ten Rings, then maybe she'd still be alive. And there's a moment where he spouts blame on his son for the death of his wife, an emotional lashing out that people dealing with trauma can often commit. His trauma and heartache caused him to lose his children, and ultimately blinded him from the reality of his manipulation. Wenwu was a masterfully executed sympathetic villain that we rarely get in the MCU, and his sacrifice of his own life to save his son made his character all the better. All the characters in Shang-Chi worked for me. I like the story of Zhu Xiaoling and am curious to see if she becomes a future villain in the MCU. And surprisingly, I appreciated Awkwafina's Asian American character in Katie. I liked that they didn't force the romance between her and Shang-Chi, and honestly I hope it remains that way for the future. I also liked Ben Kingsley's character and how they addressed him being the fake Mandarin in the MCU, though some of his jokes can be a bit much. The music and locations were great and very fitting to the world being created. I really like the creature designs, from the dragon lion bear, dragon horse, nine tails, and the dragon monsters themselves. Everything was peak verisimilitude for me. And that's the gist of my revisited review for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. An incredible movie and one of the stronger origin stories in the MCU. What did you think of Shang-Chi? Where do you think we'll see him pop up next? What is the meaning of the beacon in the Ten Rings? Hit me up, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll catch you next time on The Gist. One, two, three. Yeah, I think that's 10. So, can I get Captain Marvel's number now? Hey, what about Scarlet? Hey!